Peace, 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 peace. Peace, love, and light to all American Aborigines. This is your brother, Aboriginal Power. Hopefully, everybody's having a beautiful day. I'm going to give y'all another 30 seconds to hit the like button, and we're going to tune in to this live stream. Let's go.
Yeah, truth can't be told, it gotta be realized. The truth can't be told, it gotta be realized. Freedom ain't free, it ain't legalized. Can't be told, it gotta be realized. Freedom ain't free, it ain't realized. Freedom ain't free, it ain't realized. Freedom ain't, it ain't legalized. Realize, realize. Freedom ain't free, it ain't legalized. Real eyes, realize. Freedom ain't free, it ain't legalized. Real eyes, realize. Realize. Yeah, slavery was a long time ago. How? Same motherfuckers still here right now. Colonized on our own land, they ahead of us. Changed our name so much they scared of us. Children of the sun, y'all don't compare to us. Pale-faced people, this ain't y'all area. Talking about America, pale-faced people, this ain't y'all area. Even up the playing field, bitch, I'm darn. How you a victim, bitch, you a Karen. Cognitive dissonance, you don't need sparing. You got white privilege, so you don't need sparing. Looking at my homeland, man, I can't believe her. Colonized came here, they ain't never leave her. Indians ain't die off cause we here. You ain't gotta lie, just say you won't be here. How you American but not indigenous? 400 years still ain't get rid of us. All Europeans, naturalized citizens, made all the Indians niggas on the census. 1492, we was on the fences. Civil rights movement, we was so defensive. Black Wall Street, whites got so offended. Common law rights, gave us amendments. Thank God don't speak truth, that's alright. First slave 1619 was all white. 1200 wasn't no continent, all white. Europe named after a black woman, alright. Grafted, it come from us, do your research. Go within, quit listening to the teacher. And the Nuki got voice coming out the speaker. Cut off trees down and made us weaker. Really they foreigner, the shit gets deeper. Whites don't know where whites come from either. I'm Aborigine, we come from the ether. Ruling over us in our land, that's evil. Being colonized right now, black people. Prisoner of the war, that's why it ain't equal. Wake up everybody, don't be no sheeple. Freedom ain't free, really freedom is illegal. And we can't get mad at this. Whites act like we can't see their advantages. Privileges real, they working in management. Low down dirty, but they calling us savage. They want you to think they above us. All white people are part-time judges. I ain't no racist, but I ain't no sucker. I ain't no African, but they my brothers. Been lied to, I got built up anger. You built everything, still waiting on the savior. Don't call yourself black, please do me that favor. Black tourmaline will protect you from a hater. Listening to your oppressors is dangerous. Gave us a Bible and stole our nation. Said we couldn't read, but we didn't know the language. Kept us on paper because we didn't see the danger. American Indian, keep the religion. Skin copper color, look just like a penny. Wanted our land and you called us stingy. Ain't no Democrats there to gotta pay attention. We got ancestors, but the papers is missing. Kings and queens, we can't remember. Remember who you are, just like Simba. Now they got a vax, we don't want that in us. George Washington is the ninth president, look it up. United States, only 10 square blocks, look it up. White people really the minorities, look it up. Courtrooms don't got authorities, look it up. You want me, say stop governing me. Gave me a straw man, it's really not me. Why you don't keep it 100 with me? Why Trayvon Killer still walk around free? Made this song for the truth, don't hate it. History was told in reverse, I've stated. Reach to the press, somebody gotta say it. I'm taking out of school, that's the reason I made it. History is his story. History is his story. History is his story. History is his story. It ain't my story. History is his story. It's his story. Probably ain't your story. History is his story. It's his story.
Make sure y'all hit that like button out there. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Peace and blessings. This is your brother Aboriginal Power, and this is the Wake and Bake Show. Make sure you share this on all your social media outlets. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. Let's go.
Yeah, rhyme so dope, my eyes low. When you move like God, the time slow. I came back for the blacks and John Doe's. Crack open them land patents, let go of them townhomes. What's a native to a native? Eat $5 dough if he not melanated. Pale faces got you waiting on a savior. Sending prayers up, he texting back on vacation. Yeah, God's children. Give all your praise to Jesus, but how God feeling? He say put no one before him in divine image. It's you with God of Christians. I got a vision, but niggas ain't gotta listen, so they don't. We came from the soil, wasn't fucking with no boats. Bible took our spirit, English potted on our homes. Tribal families turned on us, don't act like y'all don't know. But fuck them and they grudges. We was something turned to nothing. And now we nothing's turned to something. Reincarnation of ancients, fresh up out the oven. This the message to the black man. 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 Shooters on my roof, lawyers in the coop. We can never die, bitch, we bulletproof. This the message to the black man. This the message to the black man. Say you wasn't slaves, you was prisoners of war. You stop wasting your time, these other bitches ain't important. You ain't meditating, you ain't mating with the sauce. Like what the fuck's a noodle if you ain't painted with the sauce? I find it hard to trust the pastor who rather side with the master, who preaching we should submit while getting murdered and captured. About how we should wait on God is never our vernacular. They get paid and praised by the dollar long as they keeping us stagnant. And niggas think they woke, huh? Like you could change a whole world through a vote, huh? Like slave masters willing to let their slave go, huh? That slave master was probably your kinfolk, huh? History in reverse, a black king strategy. When blacks were your majesty, they always hide your pyramids but point to where the castles be. Aristocracies with your last name patent accurately. Yeah. And I ain't even tell half the shit. Like, I ain't even tell a quarter of the shit. I'm just getting started. Y'all niggas rap about busting guns and all this weird shit. I'm trying to get my people back, nigga.
Welcome. Can't be programmed, this soul food set the mood like a fucking slow jam. It's time to eat up. I'm 10 toes down, who gon' defeat us? I'm living gold, aboriginal, check my features. Who gon' speak up? I turn up and blow speakers. My own teacher, I grew up with no leaders. Can't trust people, cause they ain't telling the whole truth. Get directions to heaven, but you live in the hell too. That's how I feel, keeping it real. Love it or hate it, either way they trying to crucify me like the savior. Put thorns in my crown, they knowing that I'm a king. You been crossed too many times, whipped and hung from trees. I am my ancestors from the past that done bled, and now we here resurrected. Bitch, I'm back from the dead, immortal. They can't kill me, I'm forever on the rise. They despise my genetics, it's something special about my kind. A descendant of the ones in the tombs. Brown babies coming from wombs, in tune with the sun and the moon, you feel me? If it ain't clear, it's time to switch optics. Cause ignorance got us moving in fear, and that bring them big profits. But I'm a prophet, so I kick knowledge. Cause the shit that you hearing on the radio got us misguided. They got our goddesses hating they real bodies, and the gods getting high off lean, they're pill popping. Bodies are still dropping. Is you paying attention? I guess not, you still paying to listen. I move different in my true image, just too many projecting hate. Who gon' lift the whole world up and tell them they great? Who gon' tell everybody getting money, but who's spreading the bait? So we can buy back the block, start to better this place. Cause our skin tones is dark, it's divine mastery. The hair grown from my dome defies gravity, yeah. The real rulers of earth rebirth humanity. Facts. The queen's high supreme, call her your majesty. Facts. You better battle me, listen, don't be a casualty. Fuck a colonizer, we guardians of the galaxy. They super late, bitch, I move truth, fuck moving weight. Earth is our true estate, that let our lights illuminate and prosper. I promise I'm passionate with my power. I'm writing all my wrongs and balancing every chakra. Who gon' stop? I'm a daddy try. The reason you so scared to fly is cause you scared to die. But I exist on dimensions beyond this plane. You thinking it's all a game. When you open up your eyes, your energy start to change. We still traumatized and healing from all the pain. It's good versus evil, our enemies all the same. So I'm 10 toes down with my feet in the dirt. And when I leave earth, you still hear me speaking this verse. This music is all my scriptures I've been keeping since birth. When I spoke them into existence, I was seeing my worth. My purpose is my perspective. I'm serving a higher message. A piece of the most high is written in my genetics. I speak for my soul tribe. We shed a divine essence, releasing the soul ties to whatever we find negative light. Instead of bashing out women, we heal with them. Instead of running from problems, we deal with them. Instead of killing our brothers, we build with them. So, fuck the illusions, we seeing the real picture, we here. It's more spiritual than physical, nigga. If you ain't trying to bring change, you invisible, nigga. For real, my message lives, it's invisible, nigga. And fuck being rich if you ain't got no principles, nigga.
Hey, let me say something real quick.
Let's get these likes up, y'all.
All these years we be calling each other niggas and they think we tripping.
Can I get some fire emojis
Have our
in the
own
chat?
kind looking at us with resentment. But listen, you see, we not slaves, but we are the descendants. But this is a new age, so it's time to transition. Nigga means noble individual, grace and godly ambition. Cause we always make gold out of the labels that they give us. Cause this is our land, we were the first that ever existed. So respect your temple, honor your kingdom. From the motherland to the other lands, we are
indigenous.
Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Let's get straight into the audio, man. Before I even get into the build that we got lined up for you guys today, I want to say shout out to everybody for tuning in. Peace and blessings. Let me shout out the family that is in the chat. All right, let's get it in. Let's get it in. Shout out to Master Green, Ron Torres, Copper Amaya Tata. I'm sorry if I pronounced that. Shout out to the Tennessean. Immortal Amarulan, the original Copper Empress Hoper, the Triple OG. What up in the building? Maurice Miller, a secrecy, Cyrusy, aka To the Great, Asar 504, Chief Smoke, Intone, Muffy Duffy, Regional Badman. What up? Brendan Rogers, Journey to the Fourth. Who else we got? Tawana Brady, M. Stowers, Miss Lita, Patrick Sanders, Tribal to Knives, Queen Sasha, my big brother, the GOAT, Chief Holiday, Supreme Chief Holiday to you guys. Shout out to Shy Alpha in the building. Truth Over Everything. Pop Reed in the building. Running Back Games. Daphne Manning. Who else we got? Sister Soul Main Radio. Tanya Lloyd in the building. King Jabri in the building. Look, it's the Nuke in the building. The Chief Wild Hyena in the building. Haru the Duke of Great Lakes in the building. The Tia Silent in the building. Daz Hosen. Linda Riley. Mike Pentis. Peace to everybody in the chat. I want to say, man, hey, before we even get started, can I get y'all to hit the like button real quick? Can we get the likes up? It's already somebody thrown down the video, and we ain't even got into the science yet. You don't even know if it's something you're going to like. How you going to thumb it down? But I feel you. But at least the real one's going to hit the like button real quick. So I'm going to give y'all 30 seconds to hit the like button, and we're going to get straight into the audio. So let's get it. We're going to zoom up in the video a little bit. Let's get right into it. If y'all can see and hear everything loud and clear, drop some fire emojis in the chat. How y'all like my new 30-second countdown? That's something new for y'all. We upgrading the channel, y'all. We upgrading it a little bit as we go. You feel me? So make sure y'all drop some fire emojis in the chat. Let's get this thing going.
Very cool thing happened over the weekend. I got a bunch of gifts from fans who came to the show. It was the Kansas City show. Got 2 gifts.
Let me know if I got some.
One's being mailed.
Let me know if I got some echoing going on. Let me know.
And I don't want to talk about that one. And when it gets here, I'll show you. But this is the other gift.
Oh, okay.
This is good.
Open your eyes. Drink from the fountain.
Guys, I'm super excited to tell you about our friends at Bespoke Post, man. Let me tell you.
Well, I'm going to mute myself. Let me go back to it. Let me mute myself.
you something. You're looking for an adventure. These are the perfect people for you because they're going to take your adventure to the next level with a new lineup of must-have Box of Awesome collection. That's right. Bespoke Post, okay, partners with small businesses and emerging brands to bring you the most unique goods every month. Right, guys?
Yeah.
Dude, it's got manly shit.
Manly
Manly.
shit.
Yeah, I got
Grown-up
that. I
stuff.
got that Weekender bag right there. Loved it. I also got a knife and a thing that ages whiskey.
A knife.
Really cool. Yeah.
That sounds like you're ready to survive.
That's exactly right. Yeah, you can get some cool outdoor stuff.
Right,
on
dude?
there.
If you're trying to survive, you want two things: a knife and aged whiskey.
Yeah. They don't call it Box of Awesome for nothing.
For nothing, dude. It's the real deal. I got my brother some stuff. He
It
loves
echoes
it.
when I got my
And then we
mic
got in
on
a fist
music.
fight.
Let me see
But
if we can fix it.
before that, he loved me for his gift, for sure. No matter what you're into, and I mean no matter what you're into, okay? Box of Awesome has you covered, okay? From travel
to outdoor gear
to
to
breezy summer
styles
styles and grooming goods.
Box
Box
of
of Awesome has a collection for every part of your life. This is real simple. You just go to boxofawesome.com. Boxofawesome.com. You answer the quiz, okay?
Still
And
echoing?
that
Is it
will
still
help
echoing
them
now?
pick the right box of awesome for you, okay? They release new boxes
I want to
every
keep my
month
mic unmuted
across
so I
a ton
can
of
do my
different
commentary
categories,
throughout
okay?
the deal.
It's free to
So if it's
sign up,
echoing now,
and you
let me know.
skip a month or cancel at any time. Each box costs only $45, okay? But has over $70 worth of gear on the inside. Huh?
Man.
It's that simple, guys. Just get started. Take the quiz at boxofawesome.com. Okay? And that's
Still got an
very
echo?
happy for you.
Damn.
You get 20% off your first monthly.
I don't know what the fuck that shit is about.
Boxofawesome.com. Enter the code TINFOIL at
This shit got
checkout.
an
That's
echo. I don't know why the fuck this shit got an
boxofawesome.com. Code TINFOIL for 20% off your first box. Xavier Guerrero loves it. Johnny Nice loves
Big
it.
time.
Sammy T loves it. So if we love it, we know you're going to love it. Thank you to our friends at Box of Awesome.
Is it
All right, let's get into it. Very
now?
excited to have this guest on, and very excited to talk about what she's been doing research into. She's a historical researcher into hidden history. Please welcome to the show, Michelle Gibson. How are you, Michelle?
I'm doing really well, and I'm
We
really
good,
glad
we
to be
good,
here.
we
So
good.
thanks for the invitation.
Michelle, we're honored to have
good,
you
we
on.
good.
Anytime we can talk hidden history, we're all
Let me
about
know,
that
let me know.
action. It's
we
slowly
got an
becoming
echo,
my
just say
favorite
echo.
subject to talk about.
If not, just
Because
say
I do
no.
think it is so important
So
as
can
we
move
see
on.
them try to rewrite our history
Let me know,
in
let me
real
know.
time. We're watching in real time from books, what they're teaching, to taking down statues, all this stuff. Everything's being taught. History is being rewritten. And why is that important? Well, maybe we'll ask
All
you.
right,
But
so
before we
listen, we'll get
begin,
right into it.
Michelle, why don't you tell our listeners, the Swarm, where they can find you and anything else you want to promote?
Okay, certainly. My primary website is my blog, which is piercingtheveilofillusion.com. And I'm primarily a writer. That's my total comfort zone, and I've had to learn to become more comfortable speaking because I realized when I got this information that I needed to get it out any way possible. So over the last couple of years, I've done a number of interviews, and it's gotten a lot easier.
You're doing great.
Thanks. It starts out in written form.
The way it sounds is
And-
not because of me. That's her mic and shit.
I've got a lot of information to share that I've received. I would say it's an intuitive process, but it has to do with the original civilization, hidden history, how it's been hidden, who's hidden it, why it's been hidden. And you gave really good examples there at the beginning. It's still going on. They've been at it for a long time. But when I say a long time, I'm not talking thousands of years. I'm talking hundreds of years. And I think we were doing just fine up until 200 to 300 years ago. And then beings with a very dark agenda figured out a way to come in and hijack the timeline of the earth and give us the world that we're living in today. But we're living on top of the, I would say, ruins of an advanced ancient civilization, but the buildings really aren't ruins. We're still using them. And so that's an important point. because we live and work in them. We see them, but we're told a fabricated story.
So let's make it clear. I hope y'all know what's going on right here. The lady simply saying that the government, these secret societies, these 13 bloodlines, these satanic bloodlines, has been hiding the original civilization here. She almost says that she said, we're not living on top of old ruins of an advanced civilization. We're still thriving and using them today. And they're hidden in disguise under courthouses. They disguise under municipality places, government facilities, art museums, things of this nature.
Story about how they got there and who built it and when they built it.
I love everything you're saying, and I'm all about this. I can't talk enough about this.
Couldn't be perfect timing.
Yeah. So me, Xavier, myself, our good friend Eddie Bravo, we were.
Derek was driving us around too.
Derek was driving us around when we weren't worrying about running out of gas. And by the way, that's happened to me a lot more lately. I almost happened today. I don't know why. Everybody just keeps like, no, we're good, and then we're not good, or we're close to not good. But anyway, so we went into Nebraska, and he goes, I want to show you something. So we're going through what city? Nebraska City?
Auburn,
Nebraska. Not the SEC school, but the city in Nebraska. That's crappy. Okay.
I need y'all to hit that like button real quick. I'm gonna need y'all to hit that like button. Hit the like button, y'all. Drop some fire emojis in the chat if y'all can hear me and hear this loud and clear. Hey, this is about to be a good one, y'all. We're going to break this down. And don't forget, later on at 7 o'clock, I got a show, a special show just for you. We're going to be going in on the land patents and how you execute them and move forth on the land patents, since people are not teaching you step by step how to execute the land patents. All right? So let's take this to the next level, you guys, so we can really help our people instead of just throwing out information or regurgitated things. Let's get it.
That there was a mud flood, not just in North America, but all over the world. And I personally believe that it's been within the last couple of 100 years, and I believe that it was deliberately caused. And I'll show you information about why I believe that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to show you a couple of examples, and then I'm going to go into my story about how I got into this.
All right, perfect.
And then we can bring it back up a little bit. But
let's do it.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And I pulled up a couple of things, but I'm going to go somewhere else since you brought it up first. And that's probably one of the best examples of exactly what you're talking about, to actually show that this mud flood took place and that it was covered up by roads and sidewalks when they did the reset. And I think a lot of our history is like this one here. I'm going to move you over here a little bit, where you can see something's going on here.
Yeah.
And not only that, you've got the railroad tracks down here. And I think all the rail infrastructure was part of the original civilization.
Hey, man, let's get it, man. It's about to get real hot in here, man. It's the Wake and Bake Show. Let me know where y'all from and what y'all smoking on in the chat. Let's get it.
You've got a good picture here where you've got a work crew down here that's been busy digging. But one of the reasons I went here is because when you look at a picture like this,
that's exactly
you
how
can
it looks like.
You can see the discoloration on the part where they dug it out.
Yeah, and it's just like the layout is just, it doesn't look right, Johnny. Look at that. Does it look like if you were laying down a foundation for a building, that you would kind of do it on a slant like that?
I mean, it looks like there's a window that's not fully uncovered. The last one.
Yeah, well, yeah. If you look at the bottom there,
they didn't finish on digging it out.
Exactly what we saw. We saw buildings where like it would be ground, and then you see this weird kind of half window hanging out.
Like creepy, like if you were like trying to sneak in or sneak out of the house.
Now, I don't mind having like a basement below dirt, but when you actually have like windows that are half covered. Now, in my house I grew up with, we had windows at the top so you can see, but these look like full-on windows that were covered.
And they were. And this is such a good example because in this picture, you can see where the street is today. Not that one. But anyway, in this small picture, you can see here. And in this picture right here, you can see where that's exactly the part of the building that was uncovered. And then they just paved the street right over that.
Oh my!
But there's clearly more building going down below that. I mean, if they've dug out that much.
Yeah, that's so crazy we're talking about this because Derek showed us that, and I was like, man, that does look weird. And so I grew up in upstate New York, right? And there it is the tale of two cities. There are these very beautiful giant buildings, like they are gorgeous, there's one called the 1890 house. Can you look that up? The 1890 house. Mm-hmm. And he could do it right now. So it's called the 1890 house, right? And it's right in the middle of I forget the name of the street, but it's like a tourist attraction. And but it's so advanced, man. I mean, it's so the architecture is so beautiful. It's like nothing around it. Now there are these. And it's kind of sad what's happened to them because they've been turned into fraternity and sorority houses, but they're the most beautiful buildings you've ever seen.
Is it just called the 1890 house?
Yeah, it's called the 1890 house.
Okay, just 1890. Maybe
1890 house.
So the 1890s, just 1890. Right?
Just put 1890 house, Xavier.
Yeah,
dude.
Wait, yeah, just without the S. So see if that maybe comes up.
And even if you want to put in Cortland, Cortland. But it's and then we would get tours of this house.
Okay.
And I used to be like, man, is this one person's house? Is this? Yeah.
It looks like a castle. Huh?
Right? It's gorgeous. And there's other houses like this. And then we have Cortland, which is a little hick town. Cortland's gonna hate that I say that, but it really is. I talk about it. It's become like I call it ghetto country, right? It's like hood farmers and stuff. But the architecture is insane.
And that's exactly right. It's very obvious once you start to know what to look for.
Yes. And now you start to see it and you're like, okay, if that's like that, why haven't we built anything like that since? Right. All right, everybody, I want to tell you about our good friends at CBD Line. That's right, CBD Line, one of our oldest sponsors on the show, longest running sponsors on the show, and we love them very much. You know, these stressful times, you need tools in your tool belts, and no one can help you more than CBD Lion. I mean, they got everything. They got vapes. They got gummy. They got those new gummies that
lemon ones. Come on, nothing is better than lemon.
Dude, nothing's better than lemon gummies. Okay.
They also have the new melatonin slumberberry variety pack, which I've heard is pretty cool.
Variety pack, man. And that's what we're talking about, dude. They are the best of the best. I love them very much. They always come to my live shows and support. And here's what's really great. Okay. They have everything you need, man. All their products are third-party tested. All right. They even have a quick little survey, quick quiz you take that'll help you with deciding which product is best. They got everything, man. They got everything. Pre-rolls of hemp flower. They got new strains of hemp flower. They got lemon gummies, variety pack gummies, melatonin gummies, all this fun games CBD. Does it beat that? I don't think so. I love them. Every time they come to my shows, I hug them. I try to kiss them. They're like, no, it's not like that, though. And if you like that and you want to help out the show and you want to help our sponsors, just go to cbdline.com and enter.
I'm talking about school buildings that are the same way.
Yes.
Probably more people than not have gone into an over-the-top school building. especially in cities, but also in smaller towns. And again, a lot of those beautiful buildings are gone and they're replaced by the new building. Theaters, museums, don't even think twice about it. And the dimensions are for much bigger people. And that's another part of the story. We were much bigger and very advanced in every way. So, what we're told about us being the height of our evolutionary journey thus far isn't true. We have actually gone backwards quite a bit.
It is interesting, and I want to get into that because it's like, okay, what is going on? Why are we going backwards? What happened? And what happened to these people that were here before? Were they annihilated? Did they just go to another dimension? Like, what happened? And that's a great story, but I want to hear your story and how you get there, and then we'll get into all that.
Okay, that's fair enough. So my story actually started, I guess you could say, when I was about 7 years old. I grew up outside of Washington, D.C. in Rockville, Maryland, Gaithersburg, Rockville, and Rockville. So I may emphasize that because it's in the name of towns, place locations, Stony Hill, you name it, Point of Rocks. They're telling us, but they're not telling us. They're telling us. And so when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I turned 58 in July this year, just a long time ago, I started becoming aware of anomalies. And my dad would play softball and practice at the elementary school field right next to the church. And I was not interested at all in softball, but there was a really cool place.
So happy for you. You're wonderful.
We built this in 1890, and by 1950 or 19,
everything, man,
especially in cities, but also in smaller towns. And again, a lot of those beautiful buildings are gone from everywhere.
Why go to another dimension? Like, what happened? And
hey, man, listen, we got 153 in the chat. I'm going to need y'all to hit the like button and run these likes. So let's get 150 likes, 120 likes in the building, and we good, man. I appreciate everybody for tapping into the Wake and Bake Show. This is your brother, Big Aboriginal Power. Hey, just to let y'all know, man, I'm smoking on some Obama runs mixed with some white runs. Hey, man, this is the Wake and Bake Show, man. Let's get it going, man. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Hey, if you ain't feeling the bill, hit the thumbs down button. See, we got 4 thumbs down already. So, hey, hit the thumbs down or hit the like button. I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Either way it goes, much love and blessings to you. We don't wish no ill will towards you. There's no hate about it. Do your thing.
That's a great story, but I want to hear your story and how you get there, and then we'll get into all that.
Okay, that's fair enough. So my story actually started, I guess you could say, when I was about 7 years old. I grew up outside of Washington until I started learning about all of this within the last 5 or 6 years. And then it came back to my mind. And it was right next to Rock Creek. And if you look at photos of Rock Creek in Washington, D.C., you see gigantic stones in the river or in the creek, but I think they're canal systems. I think rivers and creeks are remnants of canals. And in some places, it's obvious they're canals with masonry banks, and in some places the stones have been removed or it's overgrown and you can't tell anymore. But it used to be canal systems, and that's just not just in North America; that's all over. So, the ancient civilization was as comfortable on land or on water as on land, and everything was set up that way. So, I noticed things as I got older in my environment that I'd be like, what's that doing there? I lived next to a golf course when I was a teenager, and the house that we lived in was like the flattest lot on the street. And I first realized that golf courses are cover-ups of mound sites. All you have to do is dig out the top of a mound and you have a sand trap. But also that more than likely I grew up on top of a flat-topped pyramid, because the houses at the bend of the street were really steep.
I don't know if y'all heard this white lady dropping this jewel. She's telling you that they've been covering up the structures, the science, and the pyramids of North America because this is where it started at. I'm trying to tell y'all. She just said that she probably lived on top of a covered up fucking pyramid that was covered up during the 1811 Madrid earthquake and mud flood. Do y'all understand what this lady's saying? Let's go.
There was a steep backyard. So the Lindley Terrace was flat, but at the top of a mountain, you have a sand trap, but also that more than likely I grew up on top of a flat topped pyramid because the houses at the bend of the street were really steep. There was a steep backyard. So the Lindley Terrace was flat, but about half the houses on my side of the street had a backyard that went like that. Again, I noticed that when I was 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there.
Now, hold on real quick. So let me just use it. Was this Washington State or Washington, D.C.?
But about half the houses on my side of the street had a backyard that went like that. Again, I noticed that when I was 10, 11, 12. Somewhere in there.
Now, hold on real quick. So let me just use it. Was this Washington State or Washington, D.C.?
So I was raised outside of Washington, D.C.
Okay.
In suburban Maryland.
And like all you have to do is go and look at Washington, D.C. and just see that there's architecture there that you don't see anywhere else. And what do we do? So this is interesting. We get told this is Freemasonry. That's what we get told. Look at this. It adds up to this. It shows this. This is all Freemasonry. And you're like, that's interesting. Is it Freemasonry? Or is this another way that we are talking about? Johnny, stick with me. Don't give me squinty eyes, okay? Is this another way we're told about the Egyptians and the pharaohs with the pyramids?
It's all the same civilization. It's all the same. And that's been the really obscured part of it because Freemasonry is a usurpation. What we know of it as Masonry is a usurpation of the original Masons, the Moorish Masons, which go back in time, back to Lemuria and Atlantis. It's all the same civilization. That's what my research is showing me. And that it was worldwide. You have obelisks all over the world. You have, canals all over the world. You actually have pyramids all over. Lots of mountains or pyramids are called mountains. And that was one of the awakening points for me on this journey. Outside of Little Rock in Arkansas is Pinnacle Mountain State Park. And there's two other pinnacles right beside it. Looks just like the pyramids of Giza laid out, but you can't get close to the two other pyramids. But Pinnacle Mountain is a state park. And there's one place you can go to in the park that if you look at it, you can tell you're looking at a pyramid. And I'm just going to give an example of this. There's just so much information. It's just really easy to get sidetracked. But it's important because in order to understand what's taken place here, you have to know how they've been covering things up. So this is one view of Pinnacle Mountain, and where you can see the faces here. Just
click on that. Click on that image. Could you go up to images and click on it?
That's her.
Yeah.
Oh,
so there's one of them, but there's some images of it where it's really clear that it's a pyramid.
All right, I'm going to ask you a question.
Like that one.
I'm going to ask you a question, and you can be honest with us. Do you believe that some mountains are melted buildings?
Yes.
Whoa!
Not the first time we hear that.
That's not the first time.
Now, saying that, I think the original civilization terraformed the earth. And so a lot of mountain ranges are like all pyramids. But when you look at a place like Red Rock State Park.
Hey, if you're new to this channel, man, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If y'all feeling this bill, make sure y'all support the channel. Support the channel, man. Hey, if you want to support us, down on the bottom right screen. If you ain't following me on Instagram, if you want to hit the subscribe button, you already know how to do that. Don't forget the notification bell. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Hey, we got 182 in here. Can we please get the likes up to 160? Hey, let's get these likes up to 160, man. Let's let YouTube know that we actually feeling this bill so they can push it around in the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? So, you know how it go. Let's go, y'all. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Drop some fire emojis.
Park in California. Hopefully I'm not. There we go. Here we go. Okay. I live in Sedona, so I live in Red Rock country here. And I think it's ancient infrastructure. But if you look up Red Rock State Park in California, the first time I saw this image of it, melted buildings definitely came to mind. Let's see.
So
this one here.
Right. Tell me what you think would cause this.
Okay. So when it comes down to what caused the mud flood, there's agreements, but there's different ideas on how it might have happened. And I know something happened. And I've got a belief that the controllers created a 3D time loop between 1492 and 1942. 1717 is the midpoint year. There's 225 years on either side of 1717. And
let's get these likes up, y'all. We got like 50 people that ain't hit the like button. Let's go.
I think we're in an occulted timeline. I mean, I think they've been doing all kinds of
sorcery,
spells and black magic and all kinds of stuff to keep us from waking up and to keep us under their control. I think they're using a very sophisticated grid system. I know something happened. And I've got a belief that the controllers created a 3D time loop between 1492 and 1942.
Do you hear that shit?
1717 is the midpoint year. There's 225 years on either side of 1717. And I've got a belief that the controllers created a 3D time loop between 1492 and 1942. 1717 is the midpoint year. There's 225 years on either side of 1717. And I think we're in an occulted timeline. I mean, I think they've been doing all kinds of
sorcery
and black magic and all kinds of stuff to keep us from waking up and to keep us under their control. I think they're using a very sophisticated grid system in reverse and opposite of its original intention, which was to benefit life, to keep us under control. And so I think history kind of starts sometime in the 1700s, history as we know it. And before that, I'm not really sure what happened and what didn't happen. All I know is I think our historical timeline really kind of started around 1717. And that around 1740, there was a frost called the Great Frost of Ireland. It's in the historical record. That was 21 months of extreme cold between 1740 and 1741. And I've developed some ideas that the Philadelphia experiment could have been a time-traveling naval vessel that created a rip in the fabric of space-time, went back to 1942 or whatever year it happened. And, it sounds kind of out there, but there's a time-traveling naval vessel in the movie The Final Countdown. And that ship goes back to 1941, which was only 200 years after that Great Frost. But part of the reason I think that actually created a rip in this fabric of space-time that allowed these beings to incarnate is because Mayer Rothschild, the founder of the Rothschild banking dynasty, was born in 1744, and Adam Weishaupt, the founder of the Bavarian Illuminati, was born in 1748, and Duke Francis of Saxe-Coburg-Saalfeld was born in 1750, and he was the originator of what we know of as the House of Windsor in Great Britain, and through Albert and Victoria pretty much took over all the royal houses of Europe.
Okay,
So
all right. Now things are starting to click for me. Now
one
things.
lineage seeded all of the present day royal houses of Europe.
Look up Windsorburg, Canada. A lot of this stuff that they talking about in England really is in Canada, you guys. I just want y'all to know that. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. We got 199 in here. Hey, let's drop some fire emojis in the chat, man. We ain't even halfway through. Let's turn up a little bit. Let's go. And I'll probably drop the link so we can discuss some of the topics that we hear and break it down together as we, drop our own information, man. We got to wake up, man. Let's go, man. It's your brother, Big Aboriginal Power, man. If you're new, hit the subscribe button.
And they got rid of the old houses.
All right, so is something in 1717 happened in your belief, and after that happened, okay, that's when whatever demons or whatever occult entities you believe, I love this, that's when they started to slowly but surely start to change our reality.
Yeah,
I'm all about
somewhere in that time frame. Now, there's other ideas in terms of how the mud flood started, and I thought that might have been it because I found out about the mud flood about 2 weeks after I started putting all that together. But I'm completely open to the idea. It could have been a directed energy weapon. It could have been some kind of frequency weapon that caused this mud flood that I think was pretty much worldwide. And that's how they wiped out the original civilization of advanced giants.
Okay.
But there's a lot of infrastructure underground. So the controllers could have lived underground while they were having everything dug out. The original civilization could have lived underground. So we didn't all die out. But most of the surface population was probably wiped out by this event.
So who are these entities? Who are these entities? What is do you have a name for this entities that did this?
I think fallen angels are in the mix. I look at Paradise Lost, the poem by John Milton in the 1600s, as being the original predictive programming, and they told us what they did. They get kicked out of heaven and they get together and they say, well, we're going to mess up things down here. And Satan went up to the Garden of Eden in the poem and convinced Adam and Eve to eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge and, good and evil. And then we got kicked out of the garden because it was our fault. And I think the original civilization knew exactly who they were, where they came from. No questions about what the shape of the earth was. Very advanced knowledge. And they aligned everything perfectly on earth with heaven and their own civilizations and communities.
So would you say these fallen angels are like archons? Is that what you believe?
So I think fallen angels are part of it. I think it's an unholy alliance of negative beings. Archons are definitely part of it. I think reptilians are part of it. I don't know if you've heard of Chimera before.
No, what is that?
That's another negative ET.
Chimeras?
Chimera.
Is it Chimera one thing or is it a group of people?
There are beings, they're negative beings, maybe spider entities. I don't know if you're familiar with the idea of spider statues showing up all over the world, these big gigantic spider statues in certain places.
What?
Nephilims.
What do you mean they just show up?
Well, they're art. These gigantic spiders are artwork in a number of places around the world. And Chimera, my understanding is, tend to present as spider beings. And so they're part of this Anunnaki.
You think they're negative? You think they were...
I don't know. And that's what I was just going to qualify that with. I've heard of positive Anunnaki and negative Anunnaki. And so I haven't really gone too far into that. I've looked more at the reptilian and the Archon involvement than any of the others. But if in alternative media, if we hear the name Moloch in the present day, and we do, that it means that there's something to that. So Moloch was one of the fallen angels that was in plotting with Satan in Paradise Lost. The name Moloch is mentioned, and Moloch is the one that children get sacrificed to.
Oh my!
If you're familiar with that.
So this starts to click with me because I do believe that there's like whatever they are, whether they're reptilians or giant ass spiders or whatever, they're parasites in my humble opinion. Right. And they are definitely running game on this whatever we live in. What do you think we live in? Do you think we live in a flat earth? Do you think we live in a simulation? What do you think?
Okay, so this is a good place to talk about my story because I didn't start out from a perspective of a flat earth or even sphere. I was following ley lines. And I became familiar with sacred geometry around 2007, 2008. I went to a Flower of Life workshop in Alaska where I was living in Fairbanks. I learned about sacred geometry, and sacred geometry is very, very important to understanding this. Without it, I would not be sitting here talking to you or doing any of the work that I've been doing. So I had been interested in alternative history for a long time. I did get a good education in conventional history because I liked history, but I'm glad I didn't get an advanced degree in it because I would not have been open to what I've been receiving. And I probably would have already had the programming in mind about what our history is supposed to be.
Right.
But I did get familiar with it. So when I'm doing my research, I kind of have an idea what's going on already in our historical narrative because I learned about it in high school. So my original research began after a friend. I was living in Oklahoma City. This is between 2012 and 2016. Gave me a flat map, which has traveled a long distance with me and isn't in the best of shape anymore. It's definitely fallen apart on me, but I had this sitting beside my dining room table, and I started noticing cities lining up in lines in North America. Because I had learned about sacred geometry and other earth energy researchers talk about it a lot, that I was, by the time the internet came around and you could find alternative media programming about these kinds of things, I was watching stuff like that. I started noticing, okay, so this is the Star of David.
Whoa.
Right.
Okay. It's also known as the star tetrahedron and the Merkaba. And that's the same as our human energy light body. Okay, it's the same idea. This is a 2-dimensional, but ours is 3-dimensional, and it's in our energy field and it's around us.
Got you.
Okay. So I found this line from Edmonton that goes down to Ottawa.
And here. When you mean by a line, what does that mean?
These are cities. This line is formed by cities.
Oh, so along the way, like each dot is like a city.
Yeah, it's a city. Wow. It's Edmonton, Saskatoon, Winnipeg, Thunder Bay, Ottawa. So I drew this line down here, and I drew it back up to Edmonton, and this goes down through Toronto, Detroit, Indianapolis, St. Louis, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Lubbock, El Paso, Hermosillo, a little bit into the ocean here. And then I drew this back up to Edmonton. And then I thought to myself, I wonder if I can find another one. And so that's when I found this one down here, which with Merida down here.
So that's a city. What's going on with the one that's in the ocean?
Well, that's kind of the dimensions of the star tetrahedron from what I could estimate. I mean, that's about where it would be. So there could have been a landmass there at one point, or, something going on there. I think there's a lot of sunken lands, and that's coming up more. When that happened, we're told 12,000 years ago or 25,000 years ago. I don't have an answer to exactly when the original things happened. I don't know how many cataclysms there have been.
I love that.
But I do believe there's been one very recently that we've never been told about.
How recent?
That's the one where I say it goes back, I think 200, 300, 400 years, somewhere in there. Something happened. That caused this mud flood, that caused all those sunken windows and doors, and that our civilization as we know it was built on top of that.
So when the mud flood happens, how does it happen? What is your belief on what the actual event was?
Okay, so like I said, it could have been directed energy weapon. It could have been nuclear weapon. And a lot of the world's deserts, like the Sahara Desert and the Gobi Desert and, the continent of Australia is mostly desert. If you look at it, the middle of it is desert, and it's around the coast that you have more vegetation. The Southwest, the American Southwest, going on up into Canada, Mexico on up to Canada is desert. Was that time and sun, or was that deliberately caused? And at this point, it would not surprise me at all if it was not natural.
And who called? Okay, so we have these dark entities, right?
Mm-hmm.
The dark entities cause this to get rid of the Tatarians. And was there a battle between the parasites and the Tatarians for a very long time? Like for me, I always think was it Khazaria versus Tataria? I mean, because a lot of people believe Khazarians are the real ones, and when the Bible talks about the synagogue of Satan, that they're actually talking about the Khazarians and not Jews, and that's a very delicate conversation to have because people just lose their fucking skulls, excuse my language, and they can't even have a conversation about what that actually means. And when you bring that up to people, in particular my Jewish friends, they freak out. And I'm like, I'm actually saying that Jewish people aren't the ones doing all this crazy stuff. That it's people masking themselves as Jews that are causing all the problems.
Right. And you're right. They're masking themselves. However, I believe that Zionists are the top level of the Catholic Church, the Jesuits, what you might know about the
Pope. For sure.
and I'll show you a really compelling picture here in just a moment. You have Mormons, and again, the top echelon, the Mormons are Zionists. Top group. This isn't every Mormon. That's just like,
I say this all the time. Not every Jew is a Zionist. Not every Zionist is a Jew.
It's just at the top. It's how they hide themselves.
Right, for sure.
In the fabric of our society and the template that they took over. And I think that the tribes of Israel were worldwide. I've come across evidence to support that.
So let me ask you a question, though. So you brought up earlier, these very powerful figures born in the 1700s, right? After 1717.
So yeah, the main ones that I'm looking at are Rothschild and Weishaupt and Duke Francis. So that was 1740, starting in 1744.
So my question is, and it's what I really have debate with the people out there who are like, oh, it's Jew world order stuff, right? Which I'm not into. But I always say there's a level above that stuff. Do you for me, I think Zionist, okay, and I prefer the term Zionist over Jews. That's just because I don't think not all Jews are Zionists, not all Zionists are Jews. But I think these royal families and all these bloodlines are actually above Zionism. What are your thoughts on that?
They're a part of it. And I agree. I think they're just like the public face of particular levels that go up.
Right.
So I think that let's call them Team Dark. For
Team
lack
Dark.
Of a better word.
No, I gotcha.
Human beings are very special. We don't know how special we are because of that information being removed from our awareness. So we are actually very powerful, and we're very closely connected with
Hey, y'all feeling the bill? If y'all feeling the bill, drop some fire emojis in the chat. I haven't checked on y'all in a little sec. I've been just letting it ride out because she dropping some shit. I want to touch on before she touch on. We are a special and brilliant and most magnificent people. We just forgot. And that's why I did the series American Guys 1, 2. And we're going to get into the rest of it. I'm going to get into the rest of the series of American Gods because I'm going to show how great y'all truly was and that y'all was just here, what they calling your 200,000 years or 130,000 years of recorded history is infantry. It's an infant state. It's you. That's you in a restart. That's you after the reset. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to go to before the reset at a peak of our advancement. And we're going to get to that type of science, man, because the archaeology is already out there. Shout out to the real ones in the chat. If y'all feeling the bill, hit the like button. Drop some fire emojis in the chat. Support the channel that's at the bottom right of the screen. Y'all see the Cash App tag. And like I said, share this on all your social media outlets. Let's go.
Air source, however you want to call it. God's not far away from us. And when we know that, when we realize that, we kind of have a power that the dark can't touch. And so I think with humanity, with the situation on Earth, they saw a unique opportunity to try to come in, and because we're in a free will universe, we have to, or free will plane or planet, whatever you want to call it, we have to consent. We have to choose the path that we go on. Okay? It has to be consented to. Well, how have they gotten our consent for a dark agenda when we're not dark? They've gotten to it by educating us in their history, participating in the social constructs that they have set up.
Yes.
Right down to wars and things like that.
False flags,
where they're actually destroying the infrastructure or, pitting us against each other. And then in our educational system, the Rockefellers have been involved in public education since it began in the 1850s. So they're teaching us compulsorily what they want us to know. So that we're totally indoctrinated in this false history and false construct of reality. And then they lie to us to gain our consent. And then they reinforce it with movies. They have to tell us what they're doing. So they use predictive programming. And Back to the Future is an excellent example of that, because there's references to 9/11 when in the movie. A lot of people done, breakdown of that. And other books, they're telling us, but they're not telling us that. So we're just going to a movie thinking it's all fun and games.
Do you believe in sigil magics? Is it sigils?
I think that's part of it.
Sigil,
if you look at like the logo for Monster, the Monster drink,
yeah,
it's like that.
Yeah,
those are sigils.
Yeah. I totally dig everything you're saying, and like I've talked about this over many different episodes. I think 9/11 was a giant occult ritual to bring in dark energy to kind of push this narrative. that and try to stop the Great Awakening. And I feel like the Great Awakening is happening. And I also feel like we have to realize that we can't save everybody.
Right. As much as we want and as difficult as it is, these dark forces did quite a number down here. And so if you've heard of Operation Mockingbird,
Yeah.
and the role of television programming, starting at a young age. I mean, I think children's programming is as much a part of this as CNN.
Yeah,
And-
XG has been really going off on that on Sesame Street. Now there's somebody's homeless and somebody who has AIDS.
Yeah,
Like, why is a kid show having somebody with AIDS? Like,
Wait, what do you mean? I thought Oscar the Grouch, he just lives in a trash can.
well, I thought he was the original one, but now and it's like. It's like there's so many places for this guy to live. Why doesn't anyone let this Muppet live in one of the many houses? It's like, and you're watching it happen. I mean, there's a lot about Sesame Street that's creepy way back in the day. You're like, and you can even say that about like Mr. Rogers. You're like, why are all these 55-year-old men like doing children's programming? It's like, and all of them look creepy as hell. I mean, I sometimes
So you can be okay with hanging out with people.
And that they tell us is that it was temporary when it was built, and that these incredible structures were built like in a year or two or a year or less before it was destroyed. And that they tell us is that it was temporary when it was built, and that these incredible structures were built like in a year or two or a year or less. And then they destroyed the buildings afterwards.
It makes
And I think what they were doing is that they were showing, the elite of the day this wonderful stuff, but they were taking credit for it and they didn't do it. It wasn't theirs. It's like this, we've got this. And, they proceeded, all of this knowledge that they've hidden from us is, in effect, probably been used against us. Weather warfare. I think we're seeing that, weather, earthquakes, and things like that. And again, I'm not just saying that without basis. I've done a lot of research on this timeline, and hurricanes, Cat 4, Cat 5 coming in right after another, year after year after year.
It really
And
is a haunted
it doesn't-
house. It really is a haunted
doesn't make
house.
sense.
When you start thinking about in terms of a haunted house, it all starts to make
You know how you've been
way
wanting.
more sense.
You know how you've been wanting to move. None of those places include hurricanes. Like, I don't know why people live in places like
Well,
that.
that's
like,
why I
over and
don't go
over.
to
Yeah.
Houston. It floods every other day. So I'm like, nope, can't go to Houston.
Yeah,
And
New Orleans,
Houston is
no.
actually Houston on my star here. Houston is actually right here, so the line goes right through it, and the Denver airport is right about here. Where this
Oh
line
my
is.
God.
So it's like they're clogging up the middle of this, which should be for good.
So we kind of moved on from it. Do you think it's a plane? Do you think it's a simulation? What do you think it is?
Now it would work, with night and day and winters and summers and all that kind of thing. I don't know, but it's not my primary concern. My primary concern is the civilization and what's been done to it and what's been done to us as a result of it. Because it's the same playbook. What they are doing now is what they did to take out this original civilization. They're not original, but they're brutal. They will do anything. And they don't.
You damn right they're not original. We the original, lady. Thank you, though. Let's get it.
They don't care about us, and they don't care about life.
Now, do you think people like our politicians, are they part of the demons, or have they made deals with demons?
Probably a little bit of both.
Hillary's full on though, right?
It's probably a little bit of both, because there's probably people that aren't, but that are intimidated or have been blackmailed, or been made to do things that they wouldn't have otherwise done to be blackmailed. because I don't really believe the people that are behind the worst of it are human, but we have corruption everywhere.
Do you believe in shapeshifters?
Sure.
She got the ability to shapeshift or something?
No,
Like she-
I think she's like, I don't want to play this anymore. And boom.
Hey, y'all hit that like button out there, man. We just getting started, man.
Boom, she comes back.
Make sure y'all hit that like button. We got 253 in the chat, man. Can we get 200 likes? Can we get 250 likes in the building? Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Support the channel, man. Y'all got to start shopping and supporting Aboriginals platforms and channels, man. If y'all want to shop Aborigine, make sure you go to weare2am.com. That's weare2am.com. And you go get you some big Aboriginal power drip, man. Go get you some Aboriginal handcrafted, thought together, put together, and owned and produced by Aboriginal clothing, and maybe some cups or some, you know what I mean, a hat, whatever. You feel me? You know what I mean? If you know, support Aboriginal channels, man. At the end of the day, we need everybody to support. Hey, you might want a handcrafted dream catcher. Small, large, medium, extra large, life size, it don't matter. Call my sister Chick Harmony Rouge, or you can DM her on Instagram and go get you a handcrafted dream catcher, handcrafted and made by an Aboriginal with your energy and the love of our ancestors all combined within it. So make sure you DM her. This is a fire bill. Let's continue this out, man. Make sure you hit the like button and support this. Let's go.
All over.
Yep.
Something is really wrong right now. Okay. And it's not natural. It's not the way things are meant.
Oh, yeah. Well, how can I forget? Don't forget to tune in to my brother, Chief Holiday. He got an up and coming documentary. The link is in the screen. I will be leaving that pin. Boom. That's pin right there in the screen. So yeah, man. Peace to everybody in the chat, man. Make sure you hit the like button. Support the channel. First Americans documentary coming soon. Sneak peek will be on Thanksgiving. The documentary will be dropping on December the 24th, I believe, or 23rd. Let's go.
To be, we weren't supposed to be in this degraded, suffering, painful existence for those, I haven't had I've been fortunate, I think, in that I've had a pretty good life in a lot of ways. I've had some hardships, but I've had a pretty good life, and I have not experienced the worst of what's out there to experience. But it's not supposed to be this way. We're not supposed to have all of this craziness that's going on right now. And so that kind of helps the awakening process, again, for those that are ready to let go of your preconceived ideas and understand the depths that we've been lied to. You have to, it requires letting go a lot, because, whole careers are built on it, or, your whole history, your whole family history, what you've been told by your ancestors. It all is tied into this. And I try not to upset anybody's apple carts in my own family, which is about all of them, about this subject, because they're invested in that narrative and what they believe. So it really, the internet and the communities available on the internet are great, because people watch it if they're ready for it. Or get something from it if they're ready for it. But I do want to show you some things to really drive a few things home.
Perfect.
About my work, because I'm not sure how much time I have, and I can go on and on and on. But the first thing I wanted to bring up was a high school. And this was really the first one that I encountered. This is El Paso High School.
Wow. All that for high school?
Yeah. That's the point. That looks more like a government building from ancient Greece or Rome than a high school. And I encountered that when following an alignment around the world, actually. And, because of our conditioning, I would imagine, I didn't go into a high school and a school that looked like that, but I imagine kids go to school and they don't even think about this building that they're going to school in, really.
It looks like some Harry.
It is insane.
That looks like some Harry Potter.
So if
like
you do
Hogwarts.
this, go into your search bar if you're listening, put in El Paso High School, and what you're going to see looks almost like a coliseum in a weird way, in that there's this really gorgeous building that has like kind of along the lines of what you're talking about, which was like a leveled pyramid almost in a weird way, with seats in front, stadium seating or bleacher seating in front of a football field. Look at that.
It looks like Hogwarts.
That is
for like a high school.
Crazy.
So that's one of them. I was trying to go here. This postcard of it. This is
shit.
Maximum seating capacity of 8,000 for a high school.
$500,000 to build for high school.
My high school has like 10.
But it doesn't stop there because
and that's a school for 8,000 kids.
No. She said the capacity
No,
of
the seating.
Oh, that's my hometown almost.
Must be some kind of football to have 8,000
my high school had 10,000
capacity,
and it was in a dumpy county in North Carolina.
So this was Duluth Central High School.
Oh my God!
And it's still standing today. Not all of them are, but this one's still standing, and it's used as like school district administration offices and things like that. There's actually a bell tower at the top of it. There's like 5 bells that were installed sometime in the early 1900s. Now, this is the old Toronto City Hall, to give you an idea of how close it looks to a high school.
Now, what is that other one?
This is the City Hall. The other one was a high school. This is still standing in Toronto, but it's been replaced by the new City Hall. But the old City Hall is still there. And then Hanley High School, somebody mentioned to me, this is a high school in Winchester, Virginia.
Oh my God. Look at that. It looks like the White House.
So you've got these classical looking buildings, and I can give you example after example. And again, these are the ones that are still standing. There's a lot more that have been destroyed, but there's a surprising number that are still standing. And I think it's it's East High School. School in Denver. Learned about this not too long ago.
Oh wow! Look at this one.
High school in Denver. one of 4 that are like that.
Oh my God.
I'm just using that as an example of probably a lot of people, at least older generations and maybe younger generations, went to school in a building that looked like that.
So would you say the people that built these are the same people that built the cathedrals?
I think it was built by the original civilization, and I think the original civilization built cathedrals.
And then
I do not think cathedrals were
they power? Were they there to collect energy?
I think they were there for energetic and frequency reasons.
And now you take what, Johnny?
No.
Okay. Now you take a look at like the Vatican. Like, I mean, the Vatican. If Tartaria is, if we're gonna believe in this, and I totally do believe in it.
Oh,
the Vatican.
Look at this.
Yeah, the snake.
The snake is. You could see it right there.
But that's newer building, right?
Audience hall. That's the papal audience hall. The Pope's throne is right between the fangs.
I love that.
Isn't that crazy?
Johnny says, "I love that."
And it's right in front of the craziest sculpture.
Oh yeah, we've seen this shit.
Okay, look at that.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that looks like some low frequency demon.
Yeah, you're supposed to feel good when you go to church.
It's like it's supposed to be like the Garden of Gethsemane after a nuclear blast, and all these things are coming up from the nuclear crater or something along those lines.
But Rome just looks like all the architecture looks like it'd be complete Tataria, right? I mean, if we're going into that,
It looks like Game of Thrones. I mean, honestly, it looks like the Iron
Those are the
Throne.
things. Those are the things right there. I'm kind of showing how this is all hidden in plain sight.
yeah.
And
It's not even hidden, really.
and the
I mean, it's just
symbolism
like-
is there, and if anybody has any issues with, talking about reptilians and talking about other, archons and all that kind of stuff, they've gotten away with this because we don't believe it.
Well,
that
you
they
know what it
exist.
is, man. I know a very famous comic who is one of the most wonderful people on the planet. I can't say enough nice things about this guy. I think he's absolutely wonderful, and he's a hustler and he works real hard. But he's always shitting on people that believe in reptilians, and it's just because you're just afraid to do deep dives, which is weird because a lot of these people, their whole brand is deep dives into stuff. But it's like the notion of something this deep scares everybody.
I mean, we talk about him we were talking about him, Jimmy Dore. He's so conspiracy, but he won't even touch the whole.
Oh, he's now starting to.
Oh, is he?
Oh, yeah. They went back and found an episode where he did with us and Greg Carlwood at, when we did the, I don't even know if you were on the show, but we did the Ice House, and they're finding stuff where he's talking about the Vegas shooting. But anyways, back to this. Yeah, man.
I mean, the problem is we've been funneled towards a Chinese style communism.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the direction that we've been heading in for a long time.
But I don't think we'll ever
I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're living in an amazing time, and that they're not going to get away with it.
I agree with you.
That's the direction that they were taking us. Is every aspect of Chinese communism that you can think of is what they wanted here.
The only thing I think is going to be different is that it's not going to be the government that is controlling everything. It's going to be corporations that are going to use the government as a tool to control. We're entering a new form of fascism, which is corporatocracy, where corporations are in charge of everything. I don't think it's going to work. I think people are waking up, but it could get worse before it gets better. And part of me thinks it needs to get worse.
I think it's going to appear to get worse, or things are going to get worse, but they're going to get better.
I totally agree.
And they're going to get better because they're not going to get away with this. And because people are waking up, and because other things are happening behind the scenes to help take this deep state structure down. But they came incredibly close to getting away with it. That's what I believe that.
I totally agree too.
But that's why this is, whether how much of this you want to go with or believe in, that's why it's important to talk about it, because of what their end game was. And we're living in that right now. They've sped it up, so it's visible. It's visible really for the first time, because before it was all done behind the scenes.
Yes.
And things were happening without us being aware of it.
I don't know why they create the internet. I always think there's some alternative reason that we don't get. But
you don't think it got away from them?
Well, I don't know.
It did because it was created by
DARPA.
Same people that developed. DARPA and CERN were involved in this, and it got away from them. And maybe we have help from the other side, and it was intentionally done, but it's how, this mass awakening, I think, is even possible because they had total control over the network.
Okay. So
mainstream news broadcasting.
So do you want to talk about this iron stuff? Just because when your computer's up like that, they can't see us talking. And a lot of people like to see my face. Oh, my face is good? No, we can't.
So I just wanted to point out how the Rockefellers and all these people show up in our history. And my research, when I first started doing this, I was using data points that I got off of that star tetrahedron, and I made spreadsheets So when I went to research alignments, I would just follow down and do blog posts about that. Everything starts out as a blog post, and I turn it into a video. And for every bridge houses, and the product of the earlier civilization, but they got restarted by the controllers. And then Rockefeller assumed ownership of the property in 1849. He leased it, was just founded by this family in Duluth, the Merritt family, and they developed the property. And we're told they needed to develop their story or wanted to expand himself. So what ended up happening is that the Merritts put their company stock up as collateral so they could borrow money from Rockefeller to fund the railroad, and Rockefeller ended up owning the railroad and the mine and everything else, and the family lost everything.
How convenient.
So again, I think the railroads are actually the product of the earlier civilization, but they got restarted by the controllers. And then Rockefeller assumed ownership of the property in 1849. He leased the iron ore companies to Carnegie Steel in 1896. And then by 1901,
hit that like button up there.
It was sold to United States Steel because there was a merger of the big steel companies of the day. And that was all financed by J.P. Morgan. And Morgan was involved in mergers of all kinds of big corporate businesses. International Harvester was another one.
Hey, I'm gonna give y'all another drop that I'm gonna go into. I was going in on it, with Chief and them behind the scenes, that J.P. Morgan as well. He had an inspection company. He had a big time steel corporation. And he dealt with inspection of ships, make sure ships was able to get out. And I'm gonna tell y'all, he did the inspection on the Titanic before his crew company did the inspection on the Titanic before it left out. It's word that they loaded it with dynamite, knowing that that's 15% of America's richest people was on that particular boat. Melanated, indigenous, Aboriginal Negroes. So I'm just giving y'all some clue.
There was a number of mergers that he was involved in around the turn of the century. And I've done some other research where I've drilled down into the history of some of these financial houses. And Morgan has an interesting one along with some others.
Yeah, what are you talking about? What are we talking about? Now, have you ever heard of the Passar family?
I have. I don't know a lot about them. I just know I've heard they're like the power behind the throne of a lot of stuff.
Don't look into them. Sam ruined his life.
Yeah, we can't put them in any kind of
yeah.
One day we did.
I haven't gone there. I probably won't. There's plenty of information without going there.
Yeah.
But I have looked into some things about the Rothschilds and some of the early financial houses, and it's quite interesting.
What is real quickly, what do you think the common theme is with all these financial houses?
Oh gosh.
Like, is there some dark entities involved? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's how they got control of everything. They got in the ground floor and they started up all these mega financial houses, starting around the Napoleonic Wars, primarily.
Yeah.
And, there's still, most of them are still in operation today, and they've pretty much been doing the same kinds of things all that time. So, yeah, I mean, it's how they consolidated their control over everything. And that's kind of a good lead into the next thing that I want to talk about.
So let me ask you something real quick. So do you think that the 13 families made deals with these entities, and why these 13 families?
No, I think they are the entities.
Ooh.
Oh, snaps.
Okay.
I think they're the entities and others made deals with them. totally. So they start showing up early on in the narrative, and that's one of the reasons.
And the Bible start talking about these people as fallen angels, right? Nephilim beings, 13 fallen angels, right? But we know the Bible wasn't written in all this ancient AD time. It was written after 1492, so it's in more recent time. I'm just giving y'all a template of what's going on here. The timelines is off.
I wanted to go ahead and talk about this is because, you hear about the Louisiana Purchase and the Lewis and Clark expedition.
Yeah, we got fucked.
And somebody suggested I look into this, and what do you know? Lots of stuff comes up. So there was the Louisiana Purchase first, and then the Lewis and Clark expedition to go check it out. Okay, lots of really interesting nuggets came up in this. But the Louisiana Purchase Treaty was signed on April 30th of 1803, and it was announced on July 4th of 1803. So we got all this land. Lo and behold, who shows up for France negotiating the terms of the Louisiana Purchase Treaty is none other than Pierre Samuel Dupont de Nemours.
DuPont, right? You ever heard of DuPont? DuPont is a guy who runs pretty much Delaware, who set it up to be a non-capitalistic money filtering system, who's also tied into the 13 families. DuPont runs the whole area.
So he was the father of the original DuPont in America. So his son was the one that started the DuPont Chemical Company.
Oh my God.
Okay, so they show up at the very beginning. So you got the Louisiana Purchase, 1803. The DuPont Company was originally to manufacture gunpowder and explosives. Why would you need that?
That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Explosive, gunpowder, Titanic didn't really hit an iceberg. It blew up.
That's kind of a heck of a thing to start a business for.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of really interesting stuff that's come up in my research along those lines. That include the founding of Monsanto, and the very, very, very first product of Monsanto was saccharin. And we know what saccharin is in. The other one too, aspartame. They manufacture aspartame.
So, okay. So you're about to get in some Lewis and Clark, which is crazy because when we did Q&A this weekend, this is so crazy that
it connects.
Yeah. Because someone goes, what about Lewis and Clark? I go, what about Lewis and Clark? Because I hadn't heard anything. And he's like, what was in their journals? And is that what we're getting into right now? What they might have discovered?
Well, we're getting into what's in the historical record, but some things that really popped out. And Meriwether Lewis was murdered. So the guy that wrote these journals was on his way to his publisher in D.C. He was governor of the Louisiana Territory at that time. And there were some issues there. He was having some problems. And so he was on his way to D.C., had his journals with him. And he committed suicide, excuse me.
Oh.
He committed suicide at Grinders Mill, I think it's in Tennessee. And I saw an episode of America Unearthed years ago, and that was when I first learned that he died under mysterious circumstances. But from what I was reading in the historical record, he did have his journals with him. So whatever was in his original journals, who knows? So the other point that I was going to make was just the DuPont show up here at the Louisiana Purchase. And Lewis and Clark wintered over outside of St. Louis in a place called Camp Dubois, which is at Wood River, which is right here. Cahokia Mounds Park is here. And then St. Louis is here. Okay. Wood River has a number of refineries. So this is where their their first wintering was before they started out on their long journey. And
If y'all can hear and see everything loud and clear, can you please drop some fire emojis in the chat? And also, can you hit the like button as you enter in the live stream? Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Grand Rising, this is still part of the Wake and Bake Show with your brother, Big Aboriginal Power. Hit the like button. Let's go. And share this on all your social media outlets.
There's a refinery here. There's a refinery, Phillips 66 refinery. But long ago, there was a Standard Oil refinery. So Wood River was said to have been founded in 1907 when the John D. Rockefeller Standard Oil Company refinery was established. So here you have Standard Oil and Rockefeller showing up at the location of the actual launch point for Lewis and Clark. Coincidence?
Crazy.
I think not. And I've got a lot of other examples.
He
aged
horribly, by the way. Didn't he age horribly? You see him towards the end. I mean, dude, do you want to talk about a predator, a parasite?
Yeah.
Look at that guy towards the
there's-
end of his thing. I would love to look into like what do they think Lewis and Clark found? A lot of people think they found civilization.
They did.
What?
They did. And it's all been, I mean, we've been taught, the history we've been taught is fabricated. You know, it's a compilation probably of a little of this and a little of that, maybe some truth here and some truth there. But, you know, if anybody's
I'm going to end the video right there, man. That's it for this video today. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this. This was part of the Wake and Bake Show. Hey, man, make sure y'all drop some fire emojis in the chat. I'm going to give y'all 30 seconds to do so, and we're going to get ready to end this live stream. Appreciate y'all for tapping in.
Hey man, all I'm saying is, nigga, you always got something to say. It's like you don't shut up.
On the track.
A lot of niggas died 1865. Single Michael fled high, I ain't gon' let it ride. Everybody hollering black was never on your side. They do maps to tell your apps where you sleep at night. They put that white man on. Got you begging your friends, put that white man on. Had you swearing you was laughing, that's that white man home. Had you proud to be a savage, that's that white man's zone. And I ain't talking shit, this my definition. If being savage was our nation, y'all be non-existent. We done took your ass out when we was in them kitchens. Instead of showing you how to live and how to maintain business. White supremacy fake. Only way that shit real is if you do what they say. We the guards of the gate. So when they say they fear God, now you know what they made. Shoot some, move some, shoot some, move some. Put us in the same room, it gon' go down. Hit a nigga with that boom, he gon' go down. Shoot some, move some, shoot some, move some. Put us in the same room, it gon' go down. Hit a nigga with that boom, he gon' go down. Every day my niggas dying, they don't know the truth. How the hell you close to God, we don't know it's you. Yo, how the hell you supposed to survive, we don't know the shoot. He should've died, you let him slide, cause he look just like you. I tried to tell him all skin ain't kin. Everybody ain't your partner, everybody ain't your friend. How the hell they supposed to help when they the ones that put you in? They don't struggle how we struggle, they can't get it how we live. Can't be scared to die, we already dead. Either way, your life is stake, no matter how you play it. My higher self said we should choose remain godly. My lower want these motherfucking bodies. Infiltrate they circles like a motherfucking Audi. Take them to the south and put them down like OG Bobby. They don't want equality in this club, they want these problems. Killers right beside me, slam full of chicken moppers. Shoot some, move some, shoot some, move some. Put us in the same room, it gon' go down. Hit a nigga with that boom, he gon' go down. Shoot some, move some, shoot some, Move some. Put us in the same room, it gon' go down. Hit a nigga with that bone, he gon' go down.